Good morning, everyone. Ron Nicoletti here, along with Brian Nato, and Nick can see our three racing surfaces right there. And Brian, I'm going to bring it out. This is a Chamber of Commerce day here in South Florida.
It's been a Chamber of Commerce week here in South Florida. The weather has been absolutely perfect. The humidity's down. We got $800,000 in the Gross Rainbow Six. Come on out, say hi. Ronnie loves to talk to the public. The Ron loves to talk to the public. So big number out there, though, Ronnie. All kidding aside.
That's races 5 through 10 with this 10 race card. $800,000. Boy, they sent it in this thing yesterday. I think there was three or $400,000 worth of new money. So
exactly.
It was a really great day of racing yesterday.
And there was a single at the end. So it's still out there to be swept. If you want to put a good ticket together and you get a little chaos, it's out there. It's not so big that, it's an impossibility. Get involved. The pools are huge.
Well, we got great racing, as we mentioned today, too. And what a great way to start the day, and that's when we're on the turf. It's about 7.5. Maiden claim is 4 and up, $20,000. Did have an early scratch of the 5. And note the jockey on the number 8 horse in here is now going to be Lionel Reyes on the number 8 horse, the Toy. So that is that. And now we will look at your early pick 5 ticket.
This is an admitted total rework. The original ticket was $48. There were scratches. I lost my best bet of the day, so I had to go 3 deep. It's a total rework. I didn't want to give out a huge ticket because, quite honestly, I lost a lot of key players. So it's $18. The single now is in race 2. We'll talk about it. I think Frosted Bird will be in front in that race. I was initially going 4 deep, Ron, but I'm not going to give out a $72 ticket. This is race 3 is the race that I scratch out of my best bet of the day. Cricket West is now the top pick. Ready for Diamonds is my long shot, but with St. Ignacio out of that 4th race, lose a little value there. The race number 5 is and always was 10-7. Those were the 2 I always was using on the ticket. It's $18, Ron.
Yeah, that's the 2 I had on the ticket myself. Getting back to this first race, the current favorite right now is the 4 Luna Warrior, the $300,000 gelded son of Warfront. But I went with the number 6, and so did you, Brian. I want to go back and show you this horse's last race. I'm going to pick it up from the 316th pole home, and you're just going to see as he's coming around, he is the number 3 this day, and you're going to just see him turning for home. And this is, typical on the turf cavalry charge, but you just got to watch this horse in the stretch. It's the old squeeze play on the inside. Boy, they got this one pinned right to the rail, and he's running his eyeball out. So now here comes the 2, and it's just a great race to the wire. So he got put in those little bit of tight quarters. Not that he couldn't run, and he finishes in the dead heat for second.
Yeah, and the other thing you didn't see because the entirety of the race, this horse of those 3 was the only one to be involved early that was around late. The 2 horses that ran with him there under the line took advantage of the scenario that Blind Eye let down. So I agree. I did have the 5 on top. I scratched into Blind Eye, but he was always an A and always a major player on my ticket.
Yeah, I had the 5 in second, talking about order of magnitude, but I bumped up the 4 Luna Warrior, who's currently favored. And as I mentioned, that $300,000 gelded son debuts locally for Jose D'Angelo and drops to the 20 level today.
There's a lot going on here. Now you got a maiden special weight dropper, albeit from Tampa, but now we're first-time Jose, and who does he reach out for? Irad Ortiz Jr., who's just winning 3, 4, 5 races a day, it seems. It's go time with Luna Warrior, and he's going to be strongly bet in this spot.
And, I, like you did, I bumped up to 7, who's giving the turf a try for Danny Gargan. Shaky call to me at best in that particular race. I think those are the logical 2 in there. Race number 2 this afternoon, 5.5 furlongs, maiden claimers on the Tapeta. This one is $16,000. Scratched the 1, No Ill Will. Also scratched the number 3, Sergeant Sinatra. And I guess you lost your top pick in here.
No, I didn't lose any picks, but what I had to do, we can take a look at Samantha's early pick 4 ticket.
Yeah, that's right.
As well. What I had to do, she's singling the 7. I was going 4 deep in here, so the 7 was one of them. But on the rework ticket, I said, let's just go with Frosted Bird. down inside. Then she's got some 3s and she's got some 5s. And then the spread is in race 5. And I can see what she's doing here because that is a little potentially tricky / problematic race. And she's going to kind of blanket it with the logical contenders. A $12 ticket. I am a fan of what she's doing in race 2, and that's singling right off the rip. And it gives you so much maneuverability later on in the sequence should the single win.
Yeah, let's start with Midnight Getaway, being she singled that horse in here. And this one moves to the Gustavo Delgado barn after the claim. Responded to the drop down in competition. It was a solid third-place finish at this level and distance. The barn, they're good with new claims. And who's there? Irad, as you mentioned, 4 wins yesterday.
Yeah.
Always seems to have 4 or 5 wins on the card. So I had this one on top all along.
Yeah, I had him further down. I've got him in 4th. You see it there. The scratches were not any part of my ticket, by the way, or my picks. You know what I'm worried about, Ron? Is I know he gets an extra half furlong to work with today. This horse does not have a lot of early speed. Now, maybe Irad puts him into the race a little bit earlier on. We have both you and I have a lot of respect for the job Gustavo Delgado does. It's good to see him back here firing. I just worry if this horse is at the mercy of the pace a little bit. Maybe we can segue over to my horse, Frosted Bird, because I think my horse is going to be in front in here.
Yeah, you looked that way first off the claim by Mike DiPaolo.
Yeah, and he's going to run as a first-time gelding as well. This horse was 2-1 on debut for Larry Ravelli, and Larry's a guy that's going to take a lot of money, so I don't think that's a big surprise. The winner was pretty good that day, and he got fried chasing him. So I think there's reason to think with an aggressive ride from Tyler down on the inside, I don't see a lot of other speed on paper in this race here. I think it's there for the taking, and maybe we just take a deep breath and hope that he sees out the 5.5.
Another horse that we both had some interest in is the 5 Red Gun, who's stretching out the 5.5. He sort of broke awkwardly at the start. He rallied wide when finishing second as the favorite. That was going 5, so he's getting that extra half a furlong. Did the start affect this horse from being closer to the pace? I don't know.
It's possible, but the only time he was really close, they went so slow. I mean, 46-3. You can't see that on sprinting on the Tapeta. I thought conversely with Frosted Bird, I thought Red Gun took advantage of the circumstances last time, passed some frying horses that got fried chasing the winner.
An explosive wave, changing barns, going into the Albany Mirage barn after the claim broke slowly, really never got on track. But you know what? Louis Sayers jumps aboard. I got to give this horse a second look.
And we know this. This is a crafty barn, too, that does good work in this kind of arena.
Let's go to race 3 this afternoon, about a mile and a 16th on the Tapeta. These are claimers, fillies, and mares. 4-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2, $8,000. Scratch the number 9 horse in here, Bella Mayura, one of the horses I did have on my ticket, but I always had the horse you have on top, Cricket West, who's dropping today.
Wow, Bella was my best bet of the day.
So really?
That's where my sequence turned into a little bit of a problem. So I scratch into Cricket West, who was a major player, don't get me wrong. I think getting back to the Tapeta, I think is going to help her because the win 2 back was a strong effort.
Yeah, drop it to the 8 level. She had that score on the all-weather surface, comes back, sets the pace. That's against, going a mile and a 16th on the turf of Jeremiah Engelhardt. You get Louis Saez at top. I think absolutely the one to fear in there.
Yeah.
I bumped up the 2 Holy Berries. He's stretching out to the mile. 16. Sort of hung late as the odds-on choice went second for Claudio.
She was 3-5.
Yeah.
You'd like to see her win, right? I mean, I know she was only beating the neck. Don't get me wrong, but you look at the running line, Ron, half-length, neck. She did not want to go by, as you kind of hinted at, and she was 3-5. That's a little worrisome for me. I moved her up, though. I think you have to use her.
In Elizabeth Dobles, we trust. You got the 5 Whatnotters hoping to find more. Rally to finish third. Hard to leave Liz off those kind of races.
It is. She might have her work cut out here because Whatnot seems to be finding 1 or 2 better now that she's been facing winners. Not that she's been running poorly, but I feel like the 2 we've already mentioned have a little bit more likability.
And Javier Castellano, boy, he did some good riding yesterday. Boy, he still looks so sharp going through the stretch.
He is a Hall of Famer for a reason, and he's been putting horses in the right spots to win consistently. Kudos to him.
4th race this afternoon is going to be about a mile 70 on the Tapeta Maiden, claiming 3-year-olds, 35,000. Scratch the 6, St. Ignacio, who I had second on my card. I didn't have on top, but I want to hear about the 2 Ready for Diamonds because it's a nice price of 12-1.
Yeah, this is my long shot, and we lose a little value, of course, with St. Ignacio out of here. I don't know if there's anything to hear about, Ron, to be quite honest with you. I just wanted to go outside the box a little bit, and I wanted to go maybe with a new face. Now, this is a claim for Edgar Baia, who's 4 for 13. We've seen this barn do some good things down here with Zilla Management as the owners. And the thing I was looking at was the Tapeta race, and that's 3 back. It's the only time this one's been on the Tapeta. It was a route. It was by far, to me at least, the best race this gelded son of More Than Ready has ever run. And now we're in a barn that has shown a penchant for moving horses up. We immediately go back to the Tapeta. Maybe he fires a good shot today. Maybe he fires his best shot. And if he does, I think that might beat this field. Who are you supposed to be scared of in here?
I went to the outside with the number 8 Ransour. Will lead from the outside, hoping for a clean trip. He steadied early. He bumped when finishing third. That race was moved from the turf to 1.70 miles for Bobby DeBona. Talking about Javier Castellano, he'll be riding. He's going to have that nice outside stalking trip, I believe, this afternoon. And, you know, if you look at this, the morning line favorite in number 4, Wave Action. Both of us, I used it in 4th. You didn't use it there. And the point I'm trying to make is it's just so wide open. There's so many different ways to go. So if you're putting an early pick 5 ticket together, I think this is where you go deep.
No, I agree. And I don't disagree with the morning line favorite on Wave Action. It's Luis Saez coming out of a maiden special weight race, but he does not have to win this race at all.
So we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we will have my Rainbow 6 ticket.
This is a championship meet. All the best jockeys in the world are here, and I'm excited to ride against them.
We back.
And you get to watch some really incredible, talented athletes out there.
To us, it's a place to be in the winter.
I love Gulfstream Park because of the racing.
The palm trees, the beach is right here. The horse racing is some of the best in the country.
A lot of good horses come out of here. And if you want to go to the next level, Gulfstream Park was the place to come.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream, it was like this big fairy tale place. All the history.
Shoemaker sitting perfectly still. He hasn't touched this magnificent colt, and here comes the finish.
And all these great horses, trainers, jockeys. It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today, Ron and Brian. As we mentioned at the top, just a beautiful day. We'll be joined later on, of course, by Samantha and Claudia to fill out the day. And this 5th race is going to be 5 furlongs on the turf, maiden special weight 3-year-olds. All the way on the outside was the scratch of number 11, Alatasi for Ralph Nixon, Al Shobag Racing Stable. So let's look at my ticket first before we talk about this race here. And 43.20 for me, and you can see I got some coverage here. Race number 6, Regal Speakers, my top pick with my man Flint and Valiant Avenger. And here's race number 7. This is the best race to bet on the card for me. And I got my long shot in there. It's the 4 Skyview Drive, a half-sister to a horse we know around here, Bellevue. And I just think that's a great race. I'm singling Radio Days. I'm going with the Shug's horse. I think this is the ideal spot. Race number 9, just hoping him. This horse has been an absolute monster sprinting on the Tapeta. Once again on the turf today, but I use Biz Buzz, and I got 3 in the last with Gliding a Fleet, Don't Kiss the Minister, and Blue Soldier, and 43.20 for me, and my whole card is on Radio Days.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, we like to root for people and everybody, hope everybody does good. Barry Croft is one of the ones that we root for, and he's done a heck of a job with hope in him. Make sure you check that 9th race out, too, because that horse is freakishly fast. Going to try the turf for the first time. We talked to Barry. He said, you know, the only time he's been on turf, it was a long, long time ago. But with Radio Days, it's exciting to see her back. Shug sent out Kathleen O, and she acquitted herself very nicely in a really tough spot for her yesterday. Radio Days is kind of like maybe a different little version of her, and that maybe she's better at one turn. It's going to be good to see her back here.
Yeah, good to see. She's got a really nice resume.
Yeah.
So Brian had mentioned when he was talking about his early pick 5 that we both had the 10 and 7 on there. Tell us about Lawful, this one from Cherie DeVoe.
I'm going to give him one more chance. We'll bring up the stat, guys. I'll talk over it about Lawful, who I thought was a piece of cake last time and just didn't really, honestly, didn't run very well, to be blunt about it. But this is now 6 furlongs or less, and I wanted to turf sprints. I wanted to do this because for whatever reason, the racing form refuses to acknowledge our 7.5 furlong races as the routes they are. So I put it 6 furlongs or less. Point being, Cherie DeVoe does a really, really good job. This is a son of Buchero who has handled the turf and was a turf kind of horse. And I was very disappointed with Lawful last time. He was my best bet. I needed him. I thought he was a cinch. I'm going to give him one more chance now because he's wanted to get to the turf in both starts. He's going to get it out there today on a firm turf course.
Cherie also has the 9 in there, more than looks. Now, Harry's on the fly. Is going to get Lasix today. Sort of a promising turf debut, but ran a little green. I want to go back and show you the stretch run, 8-pole home, and you're just going to see this horse. He was making a move here, and I thought he was going to run, get the lead here. And all of a sudden, he's the number. You see he starts to lug in through the stretch, and just hard to control. And I think just to keep him in second was a yeoman's job.
No, I agree, and this is a horse that had a trip on debut, too, and he still ran well to be second. He's got some talent. It's a matter of maybe putting it all together, maybe kind of getting his mind on running a little bit. The Lasix is going to go on today. I think he's the horse to beat in here, Ron. Now, the margin is not a big one, but to me, they've got to run him down. He's okay for Herm Walensky.
I had some interest in the 4 Portofino who's going to try to turf for Joe Orsino, a useful fourth against those 50 maiden optional claimers going 5.5 in the Tapeta. Barn is really starting to pick it up.
It is. The barn won with a first-time starter the other day, and that was not a good angle. This is not a good angle either, but you've got Jose Ortiz here, excuse me. I just didn't know what to make of him. This is a pretty significant class rise for this horse. He did run well on debut.
Yeah, I'm thinking you had the 11 on your ticket,
I
too.
did. I had the 11, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I was fading him, but I put him in the mix. I was not using him, towards the top.
And you did use that first-time starter from Phil Antonacci, and that's Monet Never, the Irish bred, and first-time starter with Javier.
Well, with Javier, and, they paid some money for this horse, 160, and the Monet Nevers, they're okay, and we got a slew of works here, and I do think it's significant that we reach out for a Hall of Famer who's in good form.
Let's go to race number 6 this afternoon. It's going to be a 1.125 miles about on the Tapeta. And we did have a scratch in here of the number 7. And Samantha put a late pick 5 ticket together. So we will check it out and see what it comes. She went too deep in here. We'll talk about this race in a moment. She's got lots of coverage in race number 7. That's that great race, great betting race for me. She does have my long shot Skyview Drive on the ticket. She's singling the number 2 horse, Music City Star, in there for Savvy Joseph Jr. over Radio Days. Lots of coverage in race 9. She's using Hope in Him, but she's covering her bases there. And I think she has the same 3 I have in the last race, one of them being the 7 Gliding a Fleet.
Those are the 3 in the last race, but I don't want Gliding a Fleet on top, but those are the 3 that you're supposed to get through that race with.
The number 6 horse here is where I will start it off, and that's the Regal Speaker, stretching out to the 9 furlongs on the Tapeta. Return from the layoff. I thought ran a screw tightening 5th against 25 starter allowance runners, going a mile into 16th on the turf. Danny Gargan, he's 23% with the turf to all-weather angle, and he's getting a rad. And there's another race that you can go all different ways in here. You flip-flop with my man Flint.
Yeah, I'm excited for this late pick 5, too, because while we had some scratches early, everything kept together, at least for me, late. These are the 2 in here, Ron. My man Flynn, I thought, just had a trip last time and ran very, very well. Regal Speaker, I mean, he's unproven here on the Tapeta. He's run okay over it, but he's going to be an underlaid price. He does get a better post, but I don't know. I was willing to just tread a little lightly maybe with him.
Yeah, and the 3 that we basically have the same super. They're about Valiant Avenger wears the blinkers. First start, he finished trouble 4th on the turf. But this horse has got 4 starts on the Tapeta with a win, a 2nd, and a 3rd. And Nix is good with this type of layoff, 24%.
Yeah.
So he added it all up and put through this one on the ticket.
No, and I like when a good, solid horseman makes an equipment change, too. And you see with the blinkers on, it's just a 1 for 12 stat for Ralph. He doesn't do it a lot, but Ralph knows the score, and he knows what he's doing. I think it's a little more significant than maybe someone throwing something at the wall.
Really interested to see your late pick 4 ticket. The way it starts here, it's going to be a 1.125 miles on the turf. Maiden special weight fillies, 3-year-olds, so they're starting to stretch out these 3-year-olds. And we have a scratch of the number 6 Petageek in there. And, let's see your ticket.
Yeah, I think that's significant what you mentioned, the 1.125 miles. We're going to separate, some of the contenders at that distance. I don't have a single in here, but I'm with Samantha on Music City Star. I am not going to take the low-hanging fruit with Radio Days. I'm going to use her. But I'm going to go extra with Music City Star, 46 is the order, hoping him. Why is he going to lose now, Ronnie? He hasn't yet. But I am going to use Detroit City just in case he doesn't like the turf like he likes at Zapita. Those are the three in the finale, but I'll tell you what, I'm not putting Gliding a Fleet on top, that's for sure.
Yeah, Don't Kiss the Minister and Blue Soldier. I think, for Javier Gonzalez with Chantal. Getting back to race number 7, which I have already told you I love this race to bet it. And, I'll start with my long shot here, and that's Skyview Drive. Is a half-sister to stakes winner Bellevez. And if you know this horse, Bellevez loved this turf course. So debuts locally for Chad Brown, returned from the layoff to finish a late closing third. That was going a mile on the turf. It's a daughter of Justify, so she's going to love the 9 furlongs in here. Some of Chad's horses that started in Tampa have run well. Some have not.
Yeah. This is a half-sister to Bellevez,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
I think Ronnie made a good point there. Chad has brought a lot of horses over from Tampa this week, and some of them have run okay. Others haven't, and some of them taken a lot of money and haven't run good. The Steam horse the other day did not run at all, I think, at 6-5. Lightly raced, seems to improve, and the last time she had Lasix, it really woke up. This is a good group today, but she does appear to be going in the right direction for Chad, and I do think it's somewhat significant she is here.
Now, you have the Doral on top, which I believe is the likely one. We'll go back and show you performance. We're going to show you Doral, Bombonera, and I'm a Sure Thing, and we're going to pick it up from the top of the stretch home. And there's I'm a Sure Thing is the number 11. Bombonera is the 8. And Doral just sitting there waiting for what happens. But watch the 4 in here. Bombonera, what she does in the stretch, she's going to come in and, put these horses on the inside in tight quarters. Are going to eventually get disqualified and place 9. Now she comes out, and I think she bothers the 11 a little bit. But look at Doral just coming down, and I thought Doral was going to win that. That was my long shot.
She was your long shot,
That was my long shot, and I thought the horse was going to win. She was going to win that day.
I kind of thought she had to win. Maybe she was just a little short. Bill Mott, the Hall of Famer, is not a guy that's going to crank him up for the debut. That's not his jam. She's I don't know if she's supposed to win today. She's the one to beat today. There's no doubt about it. If she improves, that was a good debut. I mean, that was good. Good to see Bessie Lou Stables back as well. I think they got to run her down today.
I think you got to stat on Billy Mott.
This is another one that's going to kind of flatter her a little bit because here it's not a huge sample, but 24%, 4 for 17, second-time starters, maiden turf routes here at Gulfstream the past 3 years. So the point being, you just saw the debut. Maybe she was a work or a tad short that day. Now we're all systems go today. She draws perfectly. Look at the pedigree, Ron. Quality Road out of a Scat Daddy mare. 9 furlongs is true and true for Doral.
Now you have it second, and I have it third. Bombonera, which I told you saw what this horse did in the stretch, was disqualified and placed 9th because those horses finished behind it. Todd Pletcher, Arad Ortiz hoping to keep a straight course throughout.
Well, I think that's the thing right there, that she's got to keep a straight course. And I think both I'm a Sure Thing and Bombonera, who will be much better prices than Doral, they have every right to move forward too.
Yeah, and I really thought the 2 now, the 11 that day, I'm a Sure Thing was compromised for Christoph. Come on, when this horse came back out.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. And she was a 5-2 favorite that day too. So, she, to her credit, has the speed to be much in front of Doral and even in front of Bombonera. And I think at 9 furlongs, when you get to that far turn and sometimes the field's gapped out a little bit, maybe Doral, she's going to do the same thing or try to do the same thing. She might not get there again.
And that was post 11 last time for I'm a Sure Thing. Now post 2. So Brian's right. That horse, if once, certainly going to be on the first flight without a doubt. Race number 8 this afternoon. 6.5 furlongs. Allowance optional claim of fillies and mares 4 and up. Optional tag $62,500. And I'll go back and I'm going to show you radio days. And this is going to go back to last February. First, we're going to show you the start of the race. It's the forward gal. You're going to see this horse just breaks absolutely dead last in the race and spots the field. Just got to get that move. And I know it's a long time ago. I just wanted to show how well this horse ran in the stretch. It was a tough day after that start. And you could see Diamond Wow was in that race and just ran okay. But she's had a great resume since then.
She's a good horse. There's no doubt about it. It's good to see her back today. It's 6.5 furlongs. It's the start. I think what we need to remember here, because nobody's arguing that who's the best horse in here. We all know it's radio days. But I think what we need to remember, and maybe we saw it a little bit with Kathleen O, and we'll talk about it in the lightning round in a little bit. This is the start of a campaign. Shug and Joe Allen, this is the start of what they hope is a graded stakes, significant campaign. How tight are the screws today? Whereas conversely, you get some other horses. You got Diamond Wow. We'll talk about Music City Star in here. You've got Jag Warrior as well. All of these horses have an edge, have an out, have a recency edge on radio days. If you're going to beat her, it's today.
$750,000 daughter of gun running. But let's talk about the two Music City Stars turning back to this sprint distance today.
They're off and you lose. That's what happened last time. And she had a really bad stumble at the start. So not only did it compromise her, I also kind of think it got her into an aggressive, oh, no, this is not good. I want to run everybody off their feet. And she got forced chasing a little bit. Your gal Mary was in there, and Mary Quay Contrary is awesome, and that's so good to see. She comes back and wins the inside information on Pegasus Day. Let's just break with the field today. Safi puts the blinkers on as well. If she's not good enough, she's not good enough. I want to see a fair beginning for her, and this is the first time now that was the first time off the claim, and he ran her right in a stakes race. I think Safi likes her, and he's certainly not dangling her here.
Safi solid 25% with the route to sprint angle. Jose Ortiz atop this door to Tapiture. I want to mention the 6 Jag Warriors turning back to 6.5 after debuting locally, failing to fire behind that multiple stakes winner, as you mentioned. One of my favorite horses, Mary Quay Contrary. That was in the 7 furlong grade 2 inside information for Dale Romans. Didn't run that well, but like you said, it was the start, maybe the second start. Things get better.
Yeah, and that race is, as Ron said, that's the race Mary Rampart comes into that race, and that was a much, much better race than the Rampart, too. So I can see that her making a dent in here as well.
And let's go to race number 9 this afternoon, because this is a fun one here. And this is the 9th race, is going to be 5 furlongs on the turf allowance, optional claim of 4 and up. The optional tag is $25,000. Hoping in, as I mentioned, absolute monster sprinting on the Tapeta.
Yeah, you could have shown a replay here easily, but there's nothing to show. It's just a horse absolutely running faster than any horse on the grounds. Now, those were 3 Tapeta races off the claim for Barry Croft, who's done a heck of a job with this horse. We like to see it. And, as I mentioned, we talked to Barry yesterday, and he said, this horse can turf. He was not as good a horse then as he is now. This horse is, I said it earlier, freakishly fast, and they're going to have to catch him, and it's odd, Ron, for a turf sprint. There's no other speed in this race either.
No, and the last time he tried the turf, going back, and when Barry said that, absolutely right. That was against 75,000 optional claimers when it wasn't this type of horse. So, then you got the number 7 horse in here, and that's Biz Biz Buzz. I want to go back and show you this horse's race this is back on November 5th at Laurel. We're going to just show the 8th pole home, and this horse is the number 2, Biz Biz Buzz. And, they got this long stretch, and I'm waiting, I'm saying, oh, this horse will be 3rd or 4th or something. Just seems to be in place. Then just seems to get interested more late and just makes a really nice run. And, we love the work that Mike Trombetta does, and you can see this horse almost wins the race.
Yeah, you can actually see him speed up there and want to try to win it. He's got his work cut out today because he's going to be chasing a fast horse, and he's at the mercy of the pace as well. But he does have some run into him, and Mike does a good job.
And the number 6, Detroit City. This is one that's going back to the grass for Jack Sisterton.
Yeah, and this is the horse, I think in theory, especially with Paco aboard, if Hope in him doesn't like the turf as much as he likes the Tapeta. The reason I put him in 2nd, and I did use him on my late pick 4, because I think if Hope in him comes back, Detroit City's going to take over and get first run, and that's the spot I want to be in. He's got good turf form. He didn't run well on it 2 back, but he does have good turf form, and he clearly got back on the beam last time with the Tapeta win for Jack.
And that's going to be one great race to see. As we said, there's some great races this afternoon. The last is going to be about a mile and a 16th on the Tapeta. These are maiden claiming 3-year-olds, 16,000. Scratch the 4 Hot Boy, who I had in 2nd. Did not have that one on top of my ticket. So I always went with Gliding a Fleet. He was dropping to the 16 level. He broke from outside. That was post 11. Showed some early interest before calling it a day. That was its maiden special weight debut. It's Todd. 26% with similar class drops. What do you get here? You never know what you're going to get with these horses. Sometimes they just win for fun. Sometimes they run the same exact race they ran the last time.
You are a braver man than I am, my friend, because they paid a big number for this horse. You could have him for 16. He did not run an inch on debut. You know what the other thing, too, I think is significant? They didn't bet him either. So it's kind of like they expected. Maybe he's not going to do much running. It is as big a class drop as you will ever see in racing. I just don't know if this horse can run at all. He did, to his credit, he chased a little bit before tiring, but Boy, oh boy, they're waving some flags here.
And I've always told you this about the horse you have on top. Do not kiss a minister.
No, okay. No, you must have told me that late at night. It went in one ear, out the other.
Most of my stuff.
That's fair, too, yeah. Hey, he got to the DePita last time, and he ran good. That's good enough for me in a spot like this. I mean, he was just necked out for the victory. Probably has to run a little bit better today, but probably not that much either.
Blue Soldier, the 8, started drifting in the stretch and, was finished 4th, was only beaten a half the length that day. Going to mile 70 for Javier Gonzalez, and Chantal will be in the saddle today. And Chantal, nice win yesterday, saving all the ground on the turf course.
Yeah, for Jack Sisterson, that was good to see. And Blue Soldier is going to be in front of some horses that are not very fast. That's not a bad spot to be in.
So let's go to our lightning round before we turn it over to Pete Aiello with the scratches and changes. And we're going to start it off with, we'll go back and show you a classy edition, as you mentioned, trained by Todd Pletcher, winning the Grade 3 Royal Delta. And it was a good race. They went slow early, but this horse ran well. And there you can see Catlino on the outside.
Well, everybody wants to win, right? But this is one of those rare races where I think both the connection, certainly Todd and Irad in the lows, but also Shug. And I talked to Javier after, and he was kind of beaming himself. They all got what they wanted. That's just a bad spot for Catlino. Let's just be honest. She's not going to win that race when they're walking up front at the short finish line. But it was also her first start of the year. Again, I talked about it with Radio Days. They want a campaign. This is a filly that can win Grade 1 races this year. That was the perfect return for her.
Yeah, perfect return. I think they went to half and 50 in that particular race. Now, I like this move where they just posted the other day. The Florida Star Stakes are going to be moved. They're going to be run starting on September 9th with the Dr. Fager and the Desert Vixen in there. And October 21st will be the Susan's Girl, the Affirmed. And then the finale, December 2nd, the My Dear Girl and the In Reality. And why? It gives these horses, these 2-year-olds, a chance. Instead of getting the really precocious ones winning these races, these horses will have a campaign before they get to run in these fantastic races.
No, I think that's a great point, Ron. It also kind of kickstarts the championship meet if they want to try Open Company as well. We saw Awesome Strong absolutely blitz through that series last year, and it's good. And they put a lot of money in the other Florida bred races as well. And here he is, Awesome Strong for Jorge Delgado, and that was cool to see. So yeah, I like it too. I think it opens up a lot more doors for some of these horses.
Yeah, this one went on to sweeping, and we'll see how this horse, as horses like I say, this one was so precocious to win those straight bang, bang, bang. It's very hard to do. So I love this move. So best bet today?
It's gone. I lost it with Bellamuria, so can't have two of them.
I got my best bet this afternoon. It's Radio Days. I'm going to see if I can get this horse home on top. Your long shot today?
Yeah, the long shot is Edgar Bayo off the claim with Skyview Drive. Oh, no, that's
me. That's Skyview Drive is me. So,
there we go.
There you go. Ready for diamonds. 12th one. I like that price on that horse. The Coast to Coast is back today with that low 15% takeout. And we'll show you today's schedule. It's starting right here at Gulfstream Park. Race number 7 at 3:08 p.m.
Yeah, and that's the race with Doral that we talked about. I filmed with Jeremy Plonk and Jeff Siegel, and we did a little preview for that. So you can check that out on Twitter and all that kind of stuff going through each 5 races. So it's a good bet. 15% takeout. $1 minimum.
And our first racing tour is really shifting into high gear now. This is what we've been waiting for all year. And you got the Fountain of Youth on March 4th. That's March 4th. And on April 1st, it's the Florida Derby.
Yeah, it's T-minus 13 days and counting now for the Fountain of Youth. And I think that's where, Kentucky Derby dreams and fever and all that really come into focus. Our path to the Florida Derby, as you saw it there on April 1st.
Yeah, so that's one of the greatest days here, of course, and then the Florida Derby. Of course, Pegasus a little earlier on. Just been a great winter meet so far, and as we mentioned at the top, the weather's just been spectacular. Now we'll turn it over to a guy who's really spectacular calling races, and that's our buddy Pete Aiello, and we'll be back throughout the afternoon. You'll see us two guys, and then we'll have Claudia and Samantha to brighten things up.
Best of luck.
Introducing the first racing tool from Pegasus to Preakness. Iconic venues. World-class racing. Millions at stake. New champions will be crowned. Only at first.